Yo, bros and brodettes. This is Help I Need an Adult. We're a podcast about life and how random it can get. We're here recording at Foggy Water Studios as always. Your hosts for this show are me, Matt, Magan, and our trusty sidekick, Mixmaster Chef. You can check us out on www.foggywaterstudios.com or Podbean under Help I Need an Adult. We appreciate you guys and have a nice day. The whole thing about where it's like one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because they don't want to hire more people, or is it because just people don't want to work there?
I talked to another social worker one time about it, and she was saying because you spend so much money to become a social worker, nobody wants to work there because they don't pay what they should be paying a social worker. So, like, if you are $100,000 in debt from going to college, there's no way you can work at
making like $15 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to pay that back.
You know what's ridiculous is the post office people make more. Like, why are we paying post people? Not that they don't have a hard job, but it's just, it seems to me like social workers and stuff, like people who like do things that you have to get to be legal in the United States, like a driver's license. It seems like they would probably drain a little bit from the mail and pay them. I don't know, but then we wouldn't, maybe people get pissed off when we wouldn't get our mail, and then it'd be.
I don't know what they pay the social workers up there, but I do think that those ladies or gentlemen or whoever works up there deserve more. But I know that I've talked to many people that work for the government, from CPS, or people who have had dealings with CPS, people who have had dealings with the defects office. It's not run well. And I think a lot of people get hurt or children get left behind because it isn't being run well, because they can't hire good people because they don't pay a certain amount or they don't do certain things.
People hate it, I guess, because of that.
Well, I mean, I know several people who have tried to adopt from, foster care kids, and they didn't qualify, but there wasn't really anything wrong with their homes or whatever. But yeah. I mean, because me and Matt have talked about fostering before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys were.
We had talked about it, but I didn't know if they would let me because I have chronic illness. Because I think I talked to Brandy about it before, and she said that I think if you're sick, they won't let you.
Because you're MS or something.
Because you technically, you're too worn out, I guess, to take care of kids. But we did talk about it one time.
That would be. I mean, you guys are excellent parents. But that's why we.
They have to have their own room though, and they have to have.
Okay, yeah, legally mandated by the state.
Yeah,
right.
And I know you can get bunk beds or stuff for them, and I think your house has to. I don't know necessarily all the rules, but you have to take classes, I think.
Yeah.
But the thing is the state of Georgia actually is way behind on foster parents. They don't have enough foster parents for all the kids that are in foster care.
Well, yeah. It's like probably like 1 to 10 or
I don't know.
Higher.
I know at one time they were putting kids in hotels.
I remember hearing something about that because they didn't have room.
They didn't have the parents. They didn't have the foster parents. But, when you have a lot of people applying to be foster parents, and I understand there are certain things you have to do.
Yeah.
And I understand that there are some people who shouldn't qualify, but I do wonder about, how they go about their picking process.
Not only that, but like when you adopt, I've heard that a lot of people don't want to adopt because the cost of it.
I don't know the cost of adopting from
$60,000 upwards
from
of 60
care?
From anywhere.
I know it's expensive if you do from a private orphanage or you do it from overseas, but I didn't know it was expensive to adopt from foster care, because I know.
I think maybe it's around like a little lower, but it's upwards of $20,000 to $40,000 is what I read. But I'm not an expert, so I might be wrong.
Look it up, but I don't, because I know several people that tried to adopt from the foster care system, and they gave the kids back to the family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's terrible. Like, that was what the
that's
that
awful.
one lady that worked with you at Walmart for a while, I think her name was like Tracy or something. She said that's why they stopped doing foster care, because
that's the lady who worked over in the lawn.
Yeah, she worked in lawn and garden. She's a super sweet lady. She told me that's why she quit foster care, because they were going to adopt a little boy and they were going through the process, and then they came in and swooped him up and gave him back to the family. And
It's awful, man.
They told them they couldn't adopt him, and her husband said, "I can't do this anymore. It keeps breaking my heart," and so they stopped doing it.
You know what? I remember her talking about that. Like she was
Oh,
saying
did
her
she?
husband said something because we were talking about we were trying to have that was
Yeah.
we were still trying to have a kid back then, I think, or we were just starting to.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah," talking about she foster kid, and she was like, "We just don't do it anymore." I think that was right around that time.
Oh, yeah. Well, she told us that the people who help run foster care come up there at Walmart all the time and beg her to come back.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm not dealing with that.
Well, it's because families like that where they're set financially, they're nice people, and they can take care of a kid and actually give them a good environment to
be a good parent, because it sounded like she was a good parent to them. I mean, she told me, she said, I've had kids come back to me and say thank you for being.
Oh, after they got older?
Yeah, she was like, I hated you when I was in your house because you were like an actual parent. But afterwards, I realized you were trying to do the best by me. And so, I think she probably was a good foster parent.
Yeah.
But.
Well, kids, man. Whew.
I mean, it is hard.
It is.
But, right, I mean, I think, right now, there's a lot of people that they don't feel like they have purpose or whatever, and they get on drugs and, they mess that up. And I think if you get your life straight, you should be able to get your kids back. But, you really should have to show that you've gotten your life together.
Yeah.
But,
I do see why they do take them away like that. But you're right. Like, if you can, because, I know if somebody took my little boy away, I would be very upset.
You hear about kids getting abused and dying in foster care too, and that's one of those things that, you're like, well, y'all try so hard to find the right people. How did this happen? But I have seen, they're good and bad everywhere. Some people slip through the cracks. But I mean, like, Brandy told me she was reading a book, I think, I can't remember the name of the book. I want to say The Invisible Child, maybe. But anyway, it was about a guy. He wrote it about his experience in being in foster care and how foster parents would lock refrigerators, or they wouldn't buy shoes for the kids, or they wouldn't. I know. And I was like, the government is literally giving you money to take care of these kids, not to take care of yourself, but to take care of the kids.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be buying food for them, because I think they get WIC. They get food stamps. They get Medicare.
Oh, yeah.
Or not Medicare, but they get Medicaid, and they get food stamps. So why are you using all... And then you get a little bit of money every month for each child that you have. So why are you using...
They're using it as a paycheck, I think.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be using it as a paycheck. That's not what it's for. They're just... Yeah. You should... I mean, I know that's what people are doing it for.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
If you go into foster care, it should be about taking care of the kids, though, not about... Oh, I need this money so I don't have to have a job.
No, your top priority should be
the child.
The child.
The child's already being abused. The child's already saying bad things. Like, why are you wanting to continue that? But,
yeah, it's like you're taking him out of a bad situation and putting him right back in the same one at a different place. But why would you? Why wouldn't you want to show him, like, hey, this is what
a real family.
Yeah, this is a real family.
And if your parents get it together, they could do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this court system doesn't make it easy for the foster parents either. They do a lot of things that, they can take a child out of your home whenever they want to and put them somewhere else.
That's really, that seems kind of...
It's a broken system. I don't know how they can fix it. I don't have the answers to that. We'd have to get somebody in here that actually works.
That might be a good idea. I wonder how we would get
I don't know how we would get like a somebody that works for DPACS in here, or like a foster parent or something.
Because I know Tina was trying to be one, right?
No, she didn't want to work over there.
Or she was trying, but then she figured out that she didn't want to.
Well, she said that's what she was saying. She's the one that said that they don't make enough money over there after going all that.
I wonder how we could do that. Maybe I could just call...
I don't know. Maybe you could ask somebody if you go.
What if they have like a Facebook?
Defects? I don't know. But raising kids is hard.
They might not want to do it. Maybe
I mean, if it depends, they might call somebody out or they might call this or that out. But
some people hate defects.
I think it would be interesting to hear from them what they think and how to improve the system.
Yeah, I would love to see their opinions and stuff on it, and maybe shed light on stuff that people are not aware of, maybe.
Or talk to people about the importance of foster care. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to do it because they're like, see these kids as damaged, like, oh, they got problems.
Oh, they're already, yep.
They're going to bring more problems into the home.
It's like they see them as like a rag and it's like soiled and they're like, oh, I can't get that out, you know?
I mean, yeah, that's a good analogy. I think a lot of people do. They see this kid that's been broken and abused. You don't know what happened in their house. You have no idea if they're been sexually abused, physically abused, if they saw, I mean, you know, the kid is obviously being taken out of the home for a reason. So have you seen a parent overdose? Have you seen, you know,
right?
Are you living by yourself and taking care of your brothers and sisters when you're only 7 years old yourself? I mean, you know, those kids.
And they might, you know, hell, you don't know, they might be upset with you because maybe they blame you for taking them away from their family and stuff. You know, it's just there's so many factors.
There's a lot of psychological stuff that goes on with that too. I think, you know, and I think that should maybe that should be part of it, is counseling, like required counseling for the children.
Oh, yeah, like, see, that's a great idea, and they should not, I don't want to say force, but if you foster a kid, maybe they like, hey, we highly recommend, and it's free. You can take your kid and have like a therapy with the kid, you know?
I definitely think that's something that they should have. I don't know necessarily that we have enough mental health workers to do something like that. But if you could get therapists or counselors even, or people who have been a little bit trained in that to come out and talk to those kids, I think that would be good.
That'd be a good idea.
I think, I mean, it would be very helpful to hear, because
even like 30 minutes with a kid, you know,
or if you could, you know, they could have a traveling therapist that sees so many kids a day for 30 minutes or an hour, or, you know, maybe you see 5 kids a day or whatever.
I do know, I've seen some therapists, and I know it's like, I went from one and he was over here, then another one was way down, and it's like, it was like 2 or 3, and every one of them, it was like they were always booked up.
Yeah.
Like always.
Well, you know, they do therapy online now too. So you could potentially just set up a computer.
There you go.
But I don't know the privacy rights when it comes to a child. So you probably, when it comes to children, you might have to be there in the actual home, or.
Well, they'd have to have somebody probably monitor, like, not a babysitter, but like a chaperone, I guess, to be there monitoring. Well, that's what I was
wondering, if maybe like, if you had the foster parents sit close by or something. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you would probably have to record your sessions anyway.
I wonder, though, would that hinder maybe the kid getting like a breakthrough because they are there? Maybe he wouldn't want to say some things.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless they went to a facility where they had a private room that they could access the computer to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Like if you had to go to the courthouse or something. I don't know.
I mean, a payphone for therapists.
It's just something to think about. As far as, like, I do think mental health is a serious issue, and that these kids, if nobody else, these kids probably need it.
That's actually a really good idea, like creating some kind of system where you like could have a mobile station, like a little van, like a van or something.
Oh, yeah.
And have a child come out into the van.
Oh, that would be cool.
Like you go to a foster van, like, hey, we work with therapists.
Well, you know, in that case, you know, you probably put up a camera in your like little mobile home van or whatever, you know, because there actually is.
Have you seen the van life stuff? All this van life stuff. Have you seen any of that? Speaking of vans.
I've seen some of it, but I was going to say there's a group that travels around with ultrasound equipment.
Yeah.
And they give women ultrasounds. And so I wonder if you could do the same thing and set up a camera where the foster parents or whoever could monitor what you're doing, but not have sound to it. Maybe to make sure, you know, you're not doing anything wrong or whatever.
Yeah, man.
But, you know, I don't know. There's pros and cons to that, I'm sure. But I do think mental health is really important for kids.
Yeah, obviously a kid coming out into a van, that might be.
I mean, they might be suspicious. I don't know.
But, you know, I think if you're like legit and you like.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We took Marley to therapy and we didn't get to go back in the room with her. So I don't I don't know what was said between her and Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
So there has to be a level of trust. Like, I trust this lady. I'm giving her my money and my insurance for her to help my child. So I wasn't allowed to go in the room when she was talking to the therapist. I don't know what was said.
Yeah.
Again,
and they won't tell you.
They don't tell you,
Yeah.
And that's why I said I don't. If that's the case with private practice, it might just be the case with a regular practice. But
Well,
I mean,
you could like you get one of those Sprinter vans or something, and like just close it off to where when you close the back doors, it's just completely soundproof.
Oh,
you could
yeah.
do that really
like
easily.
have a
Man, that might be a good
a
business
window
venture.
to see through. I mean, it could be. Yeah, I could see somebody doing that if they had.
I wonder who you would talk to.
Therapy license.
We would talk to.
I think you would just have to
though.
get a therapy license and then set up a van, and have your stuff.
Well, not
up.
even that. Like I'm talking about just we would just have the vans and
and
we
then
would
set it up.
Yeah,
drive you around. It would drive you around to your appointments. How about that?
Like, hey, do you need a therapist appointment? You can't make it. We'll drive to
We'll
you so
drive
you
to
can
you.
have your therapy
Here's
appointment.
your licensed therapist here today, right in front of your workplace. For your lunch break.
Oh my god! I mean, I don't know, man. Is that?
I don't know. Like I said, I know that some therapists work online, so you can do through video camera. But there are people that like to be one-on-one.
Yeah, obviously you'd have to. The whole thing about recording, like they make sure you're not recording or something like that, or that over the video. I don't know how you would go about with all that.
I don't know.
Probably some severe paperwork.
If you're an adult. If it's for like adults or whatever, I don't think that would be a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to record that anyway.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, for kids,
But yeah, I mean that might be.
Could be an interesting venture. Yeah, something else to think about. But
Matt and Magan's traveling therapy.
There you go. We'll just both get licensed. We're licensed counselors and therapists. Eventually, we'll make it to psychologists.
Right, we'll both just drive around. We'll both have our own vans and just drive around to people.
We're here to talk to you.
Yeah, we're here to talk.
We want to help.
We want to hear what you have to say.
We want you to heal.
Yeah. Mobile healing.
Well, I think that's something about parenting, and bring it back around to parenting.
Yeah.
If you are a person that is hurting inadvertently, you're going to hurt your kids. So I think that
you don't even realize it. You're right.
Oh yeah. So I think healing yourself would be really good. That's why I would say, with kids that age, go ahead and try to work through some of it. Like I said, we had Marley in therapy for about a year.
How old was she?
It was right before she went into kindergarten, because I told Matt I wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to have any problems in kindergarten.
Yeah, she was like well adjusted or whatever they say.
Well, I mean, the therapist told us she never diagnosed Marley, but she said, I believe she does have ADHD and she's got some anxiety, which I already knew that. That wasn't new. But she didn't diagnose her because she didn't want the school to like label her.
Because then they would have to treat her differently.
Yeah. So she didn't want the teachers to treat her differently. And she's actually done really well. She's actually really good at school.
She's smart. She's very smart.
Oh, she's very intelligent.
Very, very smart.
That's one of the things that's really hard with her, is that
it's almost like she's too smart for her own good.
I wonder about all of them a little bit. They're a little on the weird side.
Like the sneaky smart, like the.
Oh, she can be sneaky.
Yeah,
she can
smart.
be sneaky. But she's so.
I mean, all kids are master manipulators, right?
They try
from birth.
Oh yeah, because
I know my little guy. He's already manipulating us.
They have to, though, to survive.
That's
it's a survival thing. I mean, all of the things she does too is survival mechanisms.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute to see, like like he'll cry, and then like he'll just stop and he'll just smile.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
well, he might just have gas.
That's true. He could be.
But they have to do that because they want you to pick them up and they need you to attach to them. So the more you're holding them, the more you're doing stuff with them, the more attached you're going to be to them.
I have a question for you about that. Do you feel like you can hold a baby too much?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
I'm always worried about that.
You're not going to spoil a baby.
Okay.
I don't, and Matt will tell you when Millie was born, I held Millie all the time. I never put Millie down.
It makes me feel a lot better.
I absolutely loved having her with me all the time.
I love holding him, and like
Yeah.
he's just like this little, and he like, especially when he like looks,
Yeah.
and he's just like,
yeah, hi, Dad.
and
yeah.
I'm just like, oh look,
yeah. I held her all the time. She was such an easy baby that you couldn't help but to hold her. Plus, she was so cute. Like, she's one of the cutest babies I've ever seen.
She was very cute.
Marley, I held a lot too.
Yeah.
But we also lived with Matt's parents, and so I didn't have to hold her as much as Millie. But, Stanley and Kathy would hold her.
Yeah.
And I think that because we lived with them, that they're very bonded with her. And she's very
bonded. That is true.
I mean, if you see the difference between how she acts with them and how Millie and Maddie act with them,
it's different.
It is very different.
Yeah. They're very, it's like that window in her life. They were prominent.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. And she's very bonded with them, and they're very bonded with her. And I think that was because we lived with them at the time, and they helped us parent. And so, you got to think about those different things when it comes to kids. Like Maddie, I held Maddie a lot. I had one of those slings, and I wore her all the time. The baby wearing.
We got those little thing, where they face them towards you and whatever. Yeah, Allison, I love those things.
Yeah, it makes everything easier when you can carry them around with you, and you're like, oh yeah, this is great.
Did you do the, what do they call it, the cry it out method?
No, I did. I tried with Marley, but because she would not sleep at night, but it broke my heart so much I couldn't do it.
Yeah, Allison.
I couldn't do it. I mean, and there were nights that I didn't get any sleep because I'd stayed up with Marley, because I think I don't know what was wrong. I don't know if she's always been a little bit more sensitive, so maybe that was it, or if she had some regurgitation issues or something. But she did not sleep good at night. But she was always a happy baby. That was what was crazy about it. Like, even if she didn't get any sleep, she was happy. She was always happy.
He seems happy, but he's like, it seems like he's like Marley. Like, he doesn't. During the day, he's like,
good.
Yeah, he's sleeping, he's fine. But as soon as we put him down on his back, just
yeah. Well, I mean, that's really hard too.
And I try to tell her, like, if he's fed, like, make sure he's not hungry, because there'll be some times when, like, you don't know if he's hungry, and he is hungry.
Yeah.
And like, he's eating like 5 ounces, and then he's like, an hour later, he's like, I want more.
Yeah.
I'm like, where the hell are you putting this all, little man? But I'm like, if he's fed and he's not doing the cues, the lips smacking and the tongue and sucking, trying to suck on his little hands and stuff, and his diaper wet, I'm like, I guess we just let him cry out. But we tried, and it was like, after like 5 minutes, we just were like, we couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for moms, it's especially hard because it is in your biological nature to pick up a crying baby.
Oh my God, yeah.
Anytime, even still, like, if we go somewhere and there's a baby crying, I'll look for that baby.
Yeah. Because
I want to comfort it.
Yeah, and I feel horrible because I want to pick him up too.
Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to, but I feel like I'm being.
Is he in a crib, or is he in a? Did you put?
We get a co-sleeper.
Did you?
Yeah, it's like this little. It's like a little bin almost, right? And it collapses on itself.
Yeah.
And it's got little stiff walls around it that are about this high.
Those are cute.
And he can just lay right in it. We put it right between us.
Yeah.
Because we tried the bassinet, and he is not like that bassinet at all.
No.
No. The co-sleeper, he'll sleep. Not extremely well, but he will sleep. But on that bassinet, no, he will not sleep.
Well, once he starts moving around more, he might sleep better.
How long did it take Marley to kind of start sleeping through the night, sort of? Oh, God, you're going to tell me like a year, aren't you?
Yeah, it was probably. But she wasn't. It might be different for him. I mean, the thing is, some babies like to sleep on their stomach, and I know they tell you you're not supposed to do that.
I'd heard that one of my friends, I can't remember who it was, said that, like, yeah, man, he was 2 weeks old, and he just would not. It was Kevin and Allie, one of their babies. He just would not sleep on his back, but when we put on his stomach, he was completely fine.
Oh yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, some babies like that, and I think that you have to do what you have to do at your own discretion.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything soft around them, I think
okay.
that some of them, like Marley could do a lot because she was a bigger baby anyway. She was 9 pounds when she was born.
Yeah.
So by the time she was about a month old, she could do a lot of stuff that older babies could do.
Dude, I don't know, maybe it's just my first baby and I think that it's weird, but his neck, he's like super strong and he will hold his head up for like minutes at a time.
Well, I mean, maybe he's just a stronger baby. Like Marley turned over at 2 weeks.
Yeah, he will turn over on his side.
Yeah, she turned all the way over on her back.
And so I didn't know that. I was like, I didn't think that this was supposed to happen.
Well, I mean,
that early.
When Marley, I mean, she's my second though, but when Marley was 5 months old, she stood up. She pulled up and stood up. And then when she was 8 months old, she walked.
Yeah.
So I do think that some children are more prone to developing a lot faster. Quicker.
He wants to. I've noticed he'll want to stand up.
He wants to put his feet down.
He wants to put his feet down and stand up.
Yeah.
You know.
I think all of my girls were like that. If you put them on something, they would jump up and down. Yeah,
he wants to like push and just.
You're gonna have to get him a jumper. One of those.
I probably That's exactly
one of those that hang in the doorway where they jump up and down like a little. Those are so cute. We never have one of those for the girls, but I always ask.
I want to get him one of the little roller ones though, where you can jump and roll.
Are you talking about the walkers?
I guess they don't really jump, do they?
They don't jump. I
wonder how old you have to be to. Wonder how old they have to be to use one of those. They have to be a certain age, right?
When they start sitting up, you can put them in there.
When do babies start usually doing that? 6 months, maybe. I mean, obviously it's different for every baby, but is it around?
I would say between 4 and 6 months.
Okay. It will be nice when we can put him in his crib. I'm trying to
think about the different. Good luck with that. You ain't never getting that baby in that crib. You done put it in your bed.
No, I know, ma'am. Allison.
I'm not kidding with you.
Dude, I know.
Because Millie,
she was telling me, she was already like, once we put him in the bed, we're never gonna. And I'm like, no, it's not about him. It's about you.
It's about you.
Yeah.
I realized that.
It's about us.
It was about that. But Millie slept with us till she was 6.
Yeah.
Maddie slept with us. Well, Maddie probably slept with us till she was 4 because she would sleep with Marley. But Marley had problems where she would want to come. She did sleep by herself after a while. So by the time she was a year old and we could get her to sleep, she would sleep in a playpen until she was 18 months. And then she got real bad sick and I didn't want her to be in another room.
Yeah.
So I put her in the bed.
Very close.
I put her in the bed with us. Well, then it started that whole train reaction where she was probably in the bed with us till about 6 years old.
Started all over again.
Yeah. So we did. There was one time we had 2 in the bed with us for a while.
I think it's going to be hard, especially if he starts crying. That's going to be because then she's going to want to. I'm guilty too because I'm going to want to do it and want to grit him and bring him inside, and they're like, well, we're already here. I'm tired. Let's just put him in the co-sleeper.
Matt asked me actually, Maddie, because my mom was here. We have a pull-out bed in our room, and they were supposed to sleep on that. But I was so tired.
Yeah.
Maddie ended up sleeping in the bed with us last night.
Just
because I fell asleep before she fell asleep. And then Matt came in and was like, he didn't ask me. He just thought to himself, why is Maddie in the bed?
Yeah.
But he didn't even move her. He just got in the bed too. He's like, and then Matt asked me about it this morning. He's like, why is Maddie in the bed with us? And I was like, I fell asleep before she did. And then she fell asleep. And then you didn't come in until later.
That's such a Matt thing to do, though.
And he was just like, man.
Whatever.
But okay, so then I got up at 1:30 this morning because I wasn't feeling good. But I got up and it woke Marley up. So then Marley wants to get in the bed with us. So then Marley gets in the bed. And I just moved to the pull-out bed because at this point it's like there's no way I'm sleeping in that bed with all those people.
Oh no, good no.
No. So, you have those moments, but they do pretty good now by themselves. They don't wake up as much as Millie and Marley, of course they don't because they're much older. But Maddie doesn't. She's a good sleeper. She's a real good sleeper actually. Yeah. Marley's my only one that I had problems with.
Matt was telling me about he's in one night. He was walking down the hall to go to the kitchen for something, and he just saw this light in Marley's room or something, and he was like, he was looking in there, and all of a sudden he made a sound and you just saw the light go.
Oh yeah,
Like
she was
the
on
thing
an
go down,
iPad,
but he
wasn't
said the
she?
still light. You
Yeah.
can still see the light, and he was like, "I can still see."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she would have problems sleeping, and she would go get her iPad and stuff.
He
So
said,
that's
like,
why
the
we
cover
had,
was over, and you could just see the light lighting up the cover.
we had to start taking. I mean, we don't let them have iPads, so we had to move it so I don't get them now. But she's doing much better with sleeping. But I think that's part of people with ADHD too. I think they have problems sleeping.
Yeah, they're just so.
Yeah, she's on. She's on all the time.
Exactly. That's exactly. It's a perfect description. On. They're just on all the time.
But she was a good baby. She was a sweet baby. She did, like I said, about, I would say, 9 months to a year. She did start sleeping through the night, and she did good up until 18 months when we moved her back in the bed with us. And that was, like I said, that wasn't really on purpose. That was because I was worried about her being sick. But I mean, you still have to find time to be alone with each other too. I think that's one of the hard things too. Is finding the time to, because you get caught up in all the baby stuff
and everything, and then all of a sudden you realize it's like late.
Oh yeah. Hey baby.
What's up, Munchkin?
What you doing?
He forgot to charge my iPad.
Well, you better go tell your daddy where's he at.
Outside playing with Papa.
Well, you better go play with Papa. I love you. You smell like a puppy.
Like a bouquet of roses.
It's bath time. Better go back upstairs. This is what you get.
Far away high five. No?
Would
Okay.
you go up there and talk to your daddy?
I love you.
I love you.
Oh, man.
See? That's what it is. Parenthood.
Yeah, it never stops.
No, it doesn't.
It's always on.
If you're going to be here, you got to sit on the couch. Oh, Lord of mercy. Can you see me?
Oh, can you see us? On the... Cool.
But yeah, I mean, you go through a lot of stuff that first year.
Yeah, man. He is...
Sometimes it's easier though because they don't talk, they don't do anything, they can't get into anything for a while.
What's weird too is he's already showing little mannerisms and stuff that we do.
Oh yeah, they will. They start to pick up again. That's survival stuff. Like they have to pick up certain things that they know, which is one of those really strange things when you think about it. But even little bitty newborns know.
Yeah.
What to do.
He does this thing that Allison does, and he started doing it when he was like literally a week old. And I was like, how the heck does he know how to do that?
Because he was inside of her.
You know?
They're very intuitive.
Okay, what about grunting? Like, not grunting, but he does this thing where he's like,
I reckon he's just trying to make noise. I can't remember. I'm sure all the kids made noises. They all make. Millie. Oh no! What happened? I think so. We might. This another great example of parenthood. We'll end it. This is parenting 101.